Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Brown, and I'm the Assistant Head Teacher here at Bishop Luffa, in charge of teaching and learning. And I'd like to talk to you today about a process that we've been using with your child over the last few weeks called study capture. Now, study capture is in essence a way of improving our memory and having a direct impact potentially on exam results in the future. Now, what you see in front of you are neurons. We've got thousands and thousands, in fact, millions of these neurons firing around our body. The neuron that you see on the left-hand side is a not so well-developed neuron, whereas the one that you see on the right-hand side, you can see that we've got an impulse that's traveling all the way down it. Now, that basically is what's happening if we are developing our memories, developing our learning skills. Learning is a permanent change in behaviour. And when we go through the learning process and when we practice our skills over and over and over again, we become better at those skills. They become more developed. I'm a PE teacher, so a lot of the time I talk to youngsters about practicing a technique 10,000 times in order to turn it into a skill. Fortunately, when we come to thoughts, when it comes to memory, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case of 10,000 times. It could be as few as 7 times repeating a particular thought, repeating a particular learning sequence. Sometimes it might be a few more. But study capture is a method that we've been developing over the last few weeks in coordination with Action Your Potential to try to develop the thought process with all our students in the school. Study capture is a process of retrieving key information a few hours after that information has been delivered. So what does that mean to our students? What we're asking our students to do is to spend just 5 minutes a day sitting down and thinking about each lesson, 1 minute on each lesson, about what the key information was that their teachers taught them in that lesson and any other principles that they can remember. And we're asking them to record it on a study capture sheet. Now, the study capture sheets have been shared via our Google Classrooms to all the students in the school. We also have hard copies if your child would prefer a hard copy. How can you help us as parents? Well, you could help us massively by also having a conversation or having a conversation with your child at the same time that they're filling in the sheet. I'm a parent myself, and I know on many, many occasions I've said to my child or my children, "What is it that you've done at school today?" "A lot, really," is the answer that I got. Well, this idea of study capture is to try to bring the memories to the forefront of our mind about what was taught. We don't want this to take place with exercise books or textbooks. This is about take a little bit more than 5 minutes for the first couple of weeks. But once this technique becomes embedded, once this technique becomes practiced, those thoughts will develop, those memories will develop, the process will develop, and our students and your children will be able to recall information much more easily. We're also asking that once they've spent perhaps 50 seconds or so on that retrieving the memories from each lesson, that they rate how well they remember the lesson. So is it a concept which is completely alien to them, or is it a concept that they know well? It's something that they've thought of before. It's something they really, really understand. How will that help them in their studies? Well, if we can identify the concepts, the topics that we don't understand, then we can spend more time learning that in the future. We can pick up our textbooks, we can pick up our exercise books, we can self-regulate our learning. And that's really the difference between a student who goes to university and a student that's still at primary school. That idea of self-regulation, controlling our own thoughts, controlling our own learning process. There is another technique that we're also developing, and this is going to be developed through homeworks and through classroom teachers over the next few weeks, and that's the process of flashcards. Again, you could help us at home with this, because you could also encourage your child to make flashcards on a regular basis. What are flashcards? Flashcards are small note cards, and they're used for testing and developing our memory through practiced retrieval. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means, in essence, creating a card that's two-sided. On one side, it's got a question. On the other side, it's got information. In the first instance, it may just be a case of reading through the information and learning that information, reading through it on a regular basis to take that information into our memories so that we can retrieve it at a later date. The other part of that process that we're really promoting is this idea of the 3-box process. Now, the 3-box process is similar to study capture and the ratings that we used in study capture. Now, what it means is that for each piece of information that I'm noting down in order to prepare myself for an exam, for a test, I'm going to state whether that information is stuff that I know really, really well or stuff that I don't understand. And I'm going to put that flashcard into one of 3 boxes. And dependent on which box I put the flashcard in will depend on how often I go and look at the information in that box. So, for example, if it's information that I understand really, really well, I'm going to visit that box perhaps once every month. If it's information that I really don't understand because I've not come across it very often or it's a new concept to me, I'm going to put it in my I can't remember much of that topic, and I might visit that box for a few minutes every day just to remember that information, just to recall that information, just to read that information that's in front of me. Now, I'm going to show you what the 3 boxes look like now as I switch cameras and I show you my 3 boxes that are in front of me. So here, I've got the information I don't really understand. In this box here, I've got the information that I am pretty confident in understanding. And in this box here, I've got information that I really don't understand. I really understand very, very well. Notice that in each box, I've got different coloured cards. I've got different coloured cards for each different subject that I'm taught. Notice in my box that I can make my own cards or I could purchase pre-made cards. The learning scientists have done quite a lot of research on this, and it really doesn't matter as to whether you're choosing to make your own cards or whether you're purchasing the cards. It's the process of testing. It's the process of reading the cards. Here's one that I've got on drugs in sport, and it's I don't really remember much of this topic. So I've got some questions here on one side. So this first question says to me, what are anabolic steroids? Why do athletes take them? On the reverse side of the card, I've got the information that tells me the answer. So a steroid is an artificially produced hormone that's used to build muscle and body weight to increase training time. So it's got the actual answer to the question there. So this is information that I can recall. This is information that I can go back to at a later date. As I've said to you, we're working really, really closely with Action Your Potential, and you'll receive a newsletter from us from time to time inviting you to join some of the parent webinars and parent workshops that are taking place with Action Your Potential. If you have any queries, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me here at school. My email address is brownt@bishopluffa.org.uk. I look forward to hearing from you soon.